Oh, I look gross. It's been a long day.
Here we go. Take number 2. Belky had terrible connection the first time, blaming it on him. This is Smart Nonsense, episode probably 31 at this point. Today,
We just said 32. This is our second take on the intro, and it was just 32.
we're in the 30s, and today we're talking about I'm talking about the exact step-by-step process that we use to hire awesome virtual assistants. Belky, before we get into it, what the hell's going on with your day? You pushed this back 5.5 hours. What's been going on?
Yeah, you know what it is? First of all, look, things are leaving. All my musical instruments are gone. They're in the music box. Next week, I want to start filming. I don't have Wi-Fi there, but I want to film some podcasts in the music box. I had a big vlog to get out the door this morning. And then, my dad put together, it was great, but he put together a lunch with my grandma at noon. It's hard for me to take a 2-hour sit-down lunch in the city at noon on a Friday, but I shouldn't complain. And that's why we're here.
I didn't finish this book, but The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People. Is that what the full title?
I have no idea.
Was it by Covey? Stephen Covey?
What are you talking about? Why would I know?
It's a book. I thought you read things. Well, he talks about you really have to prioritize. I think that it's the right book. He talks about prioritizing in your life. Like, all right, you have your basically like your commandments. And this is like rule number 1 is like relationships, family relationships, friends, whatever. They come first, then work, then whatever. And so you look at that commandment sheet whenever you're making a decision.
And they do. And that's why I push this back. So you are low on my... I'm kidding. Lunch with my 84-year-old grandma, like that's pretty high up.
I'd be seriously concerned if you were prioritizing a podcast that has 30 listeners and makes no money over your grandmother. So today, like we mentioned, we're going to get in depth in this process of hiring VAs virtual assistants, because I find so often I'll talk to my friends about what we're doing. And they just have this is so foreign, it's alien to them that people that don't have absurd amount of income can hire other people to help them on whatever endeavor they have.
You've always been really good at this. I remember the last few years of college, an obligation or something would come up or a task, and you'd be like 3 hours. No, okay, $10 an hour, 3 hours, $30 an hour. No, I either won't do that or I'll hire someone to do that. Where did that come from? Did you read about it early?
It was the 4-hour work week.
Okay. It must have been.
I just recommended that to another person that was DMing me about this stuff. And I'm like, dude, if you don't read that book, like I can't properly explain all of this, but it was just so internalized. I'm like, I'm lazy. It just connects with the lazy people that still want to make an impact. And you specialize in what you want to do. Like, I don't want to be typing show notes. I don't want to be editing videos. All I want to do is create awesome podcasts and let the rest be handled.
And when you do that high yield stuff, the creative stuff, I've even found, like, not having so much income, when you allow yourself to do that high yield creative stuff, the income comes from somewhere. In my sense, it's like, okay, maybe I can, if I'm not sending all these emails or listing things on eBay, well, now I can shoot 2 more weddings, and that's money in the bank. It was interesting because I was just listening to Naval, his big tweet storm or something, but he was talking about his hourly rate when he was like our age-ish or in his 20s, and it was $5,000 an hour. That was like his opportunity cost.
Yeah, and I was doing it, and that's the thing. Like, you don't have to have this super high opportunity cost even to make this make financial sense. Like, even right now, if I said my hourly wage was $10 an hour, it makes sense. Like, literally, as long as you're paying someone $3, $4 an hour, as long as your hourly is above that, factor in a little bit of management time, it's worth it. So, and plus the bandwidth, like the fact that I don't have to stress about creating all this stuff, it just gets done automatically
while you're asleep. It's funny. Have we talked about the dichotomy between Ice getting up and working when he was staying with you, and then he thought you just don't do anything because you were in bed reading all day?
Someone's doing something for me at that time, just not me.
Yeah, so you put in the initial cost.
sorry.
Okay, and then I want you to walk us through exactly how you do it because I haven't
Yeah,
perfected it. I'm not that
my
good.
that gets exactly into what I was saying. So thanks for bringing that up. It's where it looks like I'm doing nothing. I'm just listening to a podcast in my bed or reading a book or whatever, but I'm trying to create the best possible podcast content. So it's my excuse to do that.
Yeah.
Like we're breaking down a book on the podcast. I want to listen to the book and take notes, and it
You
looks
want
like
to
I'm doing
do the
nothing.
high yield stuff, which is learning, taking notes, researching, as opposed to like the front end stuff, which is just a time suck, quite frankly. Like going through these, processing them, getting the subtitles, get captioning, like it's a big time suck. And if you did all of that, you wouldn't be able to get together all of the interesting content to keep this thing going forward. I'm not doing it. Frankly, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that I want to, while you say time suck, it made me think of the podcast I sent you this morning.
I'm about Tim Ferriss. I'm like halfway through, or Kara Swisher.
Yeah, the Kara Swisher.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end, that quote that I sent you,
Oh,
they mentioned it
spoiler.
in Shakespeare's.
Okay.
Well, it's just whatever.
Bring it
little
up.
But it's, I wasted time. Now time wastes me. Come on, why are you so laggy? What are you editing back there?
I'm not lagging.
I swear. I got nothing going on. The AC's on full blast. I swear. All right. So yeah, again, don't just like let time waste you away. Work on the stuff that you want to work on. So the way we do that, I use this site called onlinejobs.ph. It's for Philippines. That's just, they tend to have the best English, just have awesome work ethics. That's what that website focuses on.
The Philippines? Or did you call Filipino people Philippines?
I meant the Philippines if
Okay.
I omitted.
It's a minor point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apologies to anyone that got offended by that. But yeah, the Philippines, just an amazing workforce in terms of just my experience, especially if you have the right sorting mechanisms for getting the cream of the crop, which we'll get into. That's my preference, and I can say why, but Belk, you haven't used that at all. You've just used Upwork and Fiverr.
And maybe this is why I've had so much trouble. Or I mean, I just haven't put in the time to getting it set up. What's the benefit to this site that you pay for as opposed to the other 2 or 3?
Yeah, so this, unlike Upwork or Fiverr, well, Fiverr, I don't really know. And I haven't used those actually. I don't know. This is just like from my experience. And I know what they charge. Say Upwork, I don't know the exact rate. It's like 20% they'll add to whatever hourly there is. So say you're trying to hire someone for a project, they'll take whatever their fee is, and then Upwork stacks on an extra fee or whatever.
Yeah.
So the difference with online jobs, you're actually hiring the person. They're just charging you a fee to like access their database, but you find the people, and then it's just you communicate outside. It's totally up to you to take this person on. So it's
the reason Upwork has that fee is because they actually have software that tracks your assistant's like screen. So
yeah, you don't want that anyway.
Yeah, I don't think I want that. I hire someone on Upwork. She goes in and she clicks like start working, and then it starts tracking her hours, and like it gives you that kind of transparency. But I don't need that or want that. I would just rather communicate better off the bat.
Like, and I think Ice had this for his work. Like he'd have me move his mouse like every 5 minutes. Like what kind of fucking company, sorry to swear, but it makes me really angry. What kind of company does that? It's like, that's the only way to measure your employees' output is
that's
by
really interesting.
Their mouse moving. Like it should be results driven. And that's why I like this. And I stay away from time tracking.
In this current climate, I've heard of managers like calling people I've spoken to their employees like every random times, every 7 minutes, every 12 minutes, like if you don't have something better to do as a manager, then like call all of your employees to make sure they're sitting in front of their computer working remote. Like that's a managing issue and a trust issue.
And I could be better at this, but that was probably my one skill was just operations and like generally just like, I just care like, is the video that you send me good? And was it on time? Like those are my 2 criteria.
You're big on time. Let's go into how you actually hire, because I think you're really good about starting that communication. You've forwarded me some of your emails when you're hiring, and like the bullet points, the questions you ask, kind of the persistence in your hiring, I think is important.
Yeah. What I want to do, I'm actually going to screen share. So if we're zooming right now
Really?
for, yeah, because I want you to see it, but you also
Yeah.
have to translate for people that can't, that can only hear. So get on the YouTube video. We post it on YouTube. Probably some snippets will be on Instagram too.
I don't even know. I think, yeah. I don't think I get notifications for these on YouTube.
Well,
Sorrow.
figure
All
it
right, what
out.
do we got here? This
All right.
is
So you see this, right?
onlinejobs.ph. Okay.
So this is my homepage, right? I'm on the back end and you can search for resumes there. I think it's like 1 million plus people here.
Okay.
So you can see my job posts from the past. I had, we'll explain the good and the bad. Don't look at applicants for the last few because I changed. But basically, the theme is like you put up a job post and then you want to make it that amazing. Like the job post has to be great because that's what attracts the best of the best. If it looks shitty, then you're not going to get good applicants because they'll just be like, oh, it's a scammy site. And I actually had one of my VAs right now, Kay, she sent me a whole doc. I'm like, hey, I'm curious about your perspective. Like, send me what happens on your end, like what you're looking for, what you don't like. And so she sent me a whole thing. And one of the problems was
That's
with
so interesting.
this post, general virtual assistant for dating company.
Okay.
It's not that bad. Like, I didn't think it was that bad. I wanted to say dating company because like some people might, maybe it's religious. They don't want to do it, whatever. Just get it up front. But here, there was one applicant for 265 views.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, what the fuck? Like, does no one apply here? And then all I did, I made a couple tweaks. So it's not a great A/B test, but I changed it to admin assistant dash full-time and long-term.
And that's the same
immediately,
position?
same exact, the post is almost exactly the same. And I kept the requirements the same for applying. It had like a 15% application rate. So
That's so interesting.
I feel like I figured out how to have a good job post, and we'll get into that in a second. But that's the general theme is like get a good job post, and then there are other methods. Like I tried DMing. You can see these pinned workers. I DM'd like 150 people that I thought were good, and it was just the biggest time suck, waste of time. Don't DM. I've heard it before.
Because I do that with a few people on Upwork, especially. Like you can make your little job posting. It's probably not as intense as these, and then you can go and invite certain assistants to join your job. And I found, I probably invited 100 people that I really thought were solid. You think that's a waste?
In my experience, I've gotten like 5 responses from 150. And it's just much easier to optimize your actual post that gets 1,000 plus hits.
Yeah, the problem I kept running into is the people I invited were too busy to take on new work. And maybe that's because they were so good, but
yeah, I'd invite them and they're like, oh, hey, I already got hired because I'm awesome. And it's like, all right, well. So you get a good job post. We can look at mine right now. And
hi, I'm Dylan, and we're hiring a full-time long-term video editor.
I do want to say, I guess I forgot to get into it, but like people that should actually care about this stuff, I know we're getting into the details, but literally anyone, especially entrepreneurs, but anyone that's just doing repetitive tasks, that their job is okay with having an assistant.
Literally, and even if it's not at your job, like your personal life, there are a lot of things that, I mean, some people have VAs that just book travel, and you can have them do that like 3 hours a month when you need to travel. Like
that's, yeah, there is what they generally say is full-time. Like you'll see I put full-time and long-term because that's super appealing. Like I've talked to my VAs, they want that stable full-time. Like they don't want to have to come to this site and apply all the time.
For stable full-time.
I always pay. I just paid early today. I send out all my shit literally exactly when I wake up in the morning. I'm very anal about that because it's so important. But yeah, generally full-time, like they'll be completely invested in you. That's why I like that versus part-time or something. If you actually have a company, you want real team. All right. So the general overview, if we want to get into the post, let me just make sure. What I wanted to say, because you brought up like 3 hours a month or whatever. I like the tasks that are repetitive, that you do a lot. You can create a system, because otherwise, I've had this in the past. It was a problem. I actually had to basically fire VAs because it was just too much of a burden for me to assign them tasks.
Yeah, and there is a high startup cost. to get the ball rolling, to get them, because they're going to mess up a whole bunch of times at first, like you would too if you were starting a job. And so it takes a lot to get that system started and running. I think this is why you gave up on it maybe 6-9 months ago when you first tried to get a VA.
Yeah, I mean, the role kind of changed. I'm big on like, I'm huge. If I can save time down the line, I will put up an absurd amount of energy right now. Like I'm super lazy long term, but short term I'll be fucking crazy on top of it. Like I've been staying up all night, and my VA actually told me she loved this about me when I was applying or when she was applying. I would respond. I'm big on this communication back and forth. It's a whole system for sorting, but I was up till whatever 6 a.m. just going back and forth because it's a 12-hour difference, because I wanted to make sure that I could just communicate completely. You don't want the best getting annoyed because you take 2 days to respond. Like right. You have to be on top of this. It takes like 3 days to a week of just
so that
really
right
focused.
In a month's time you can check in once a week, if that,
right. All right.
Trust
so
but verify. That's the end game.
Yeah, don't be lazy and then think it's gonna make life easier. Yeah. Set up the systems. I have a big SOP. We'll get into that in a second. But all right, job post. The general overview. It's a standard job post, but the difference from my earlier posts is that this is just it looks nice. Like give me your feedback looking at this.
I mean, I can see, just like if I turn away and look, I can just see like the 4 things. We've got requirements, recommended skills, responsibilities, and perks at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, and so then even better, how to apply is a checklist. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I like putting a lot of hoops because I'm just big on like I don't want a ton of applications to sort through, make the hoops kind of high or the bar high. Right. But yeah, super simple. You can look at it. It looks professional. I have my basic, like I limit my bullets to 3, no more, just to keep it digestible.
I like your emphasis, especially, so this is a video role, your emphasis on fast internet or Wi-Fi as being critical, especially because of the video stuff I'm doing with VAs. That was really, really smart. I got lucky by not verifying that beforehand, but that's very smart if we're talking about video and media.
That was my biggest concern. I wasn't sure how good their internet would be, but now every VA I'm talking to has better internet than me.
The whole world does.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
And like, think about it. When we go and travel and we get a SIM card for our phones, it's like unlimited data for $6. And here it's like $65 a month. And then if you go over, it's freaking $100 a minute. It's like we are so behind when it comes to that in the States.
The Philippines is in general not great. Like they're going to average something like 10 megabits per second, and we're like 3 times higher than that. But if you put all of this stuff up front, especially for video editors, they're used to this uploading time.
And so you were talking to people in Dubai, right?
Yeah, right now, one of my top candidates is in Dubai, has like 60 megabits per second, which maybe it doesn't mean stuff for you, but just multiply. It's like, whatever, 6 times better than the average. Right,
we should say, so I have my video editor, Zas, he's in Bangladesh, and he did say one night it was raining and his internet went from like, I'm sure it was a torrential pour, but it went from like really good to like 0.001 megabits per second. So
can't have that.
There is volatility.
That's the thing too, because one of my questions, we'll see the questions in a second, but I do ask like, where do you live? How often are power outages? Because that is a consideration. They don't have the same infrastructure. It's getting better, but that's probably the biggest area where they can improve. So you'll see, but okay. That's huge. I think in general, all right, I'll get into that later. I'll just leave it, table it for now. But whatever, I have all those steps that Belky mentioned. Then we get to how to apply, and just some questions. Like I absolutely machine gun shred questions into these people. Like,
yes,
the whole process. So I start off with some questions linked to their profile because I communicate through email, but their profile on onlinejobs.ph. Actually, we'll put a link just so everyone knows. We'll put a link. I use this stuff. I think they have like a share with friend link. We'll use that. I think maybe they'll give me some credit or like some money, whatever. If you want to support the podcast, then use that link. But it's like $70 up front. I used the $100 one originally. Don't get that. It's a fucking waste of money for the extra $30. Just
What's
get the
difference?
70.
Nothing.
You can like put out more posts and see like a a little bit more information, whatever. So yeah, I'll have them send portfolio, resume. I'll have them take a grammar test because I want to see how good their English is, especially if you
What
get.
comes back when you do those?
It's like the SAT. I like having just a
I
score.
I know, but like, what is the proficiency you're looking for?
Uh,
What do they submit?
so it's on a 40 scale. I'm actually gonna switch tests because there's a little flaw in this one, but whatever. It's a free test, pretty accurate. 40, anything from like 35 up. I think I scored a 37 and I'm a native speaker. So anything like around that is good for me. It's just good to know if they're editing subtitles or whatever. I want them to be able to correct my mistakes if I make them or anyone's.
Right.
And then one thing that you'll see here, I snuck this in. I like to sneak little things in just to see how good their attention to detail is. So
It's like when we take those tests, right? And I don't think it ever actually happened, but they say like at the end of the instructions, oh, if you read this far, don't submit any questions.
Dude, I did that. I did that to my VAs the first time around. I think it might have pissed him off, but hold on, let me explain. So I'm like, this is the trial test. We'll get into it. I have a bunch of stages, but I'm like, I want to test you, whatever. Here's the SOP. It's 1 page. But at the end of the document, I was like, read this thoroughly before starting. At the end of the document, I'm like, don't do any of this shit. Just email me after you've read it. And a couple just started right away with the first like steps on the page.
Normal.
And I'm like, all right, well, there's like a little whatever negative mark, red flag in the attention to detail section. So I do that here on the post. I'm like, include a screenshot of your speedtest.net scores in your application. I put that way up at the top. Right. It's for internet speed. And it doesn't, in the how to apply section, I don't put it there. So I'm just like, how many actually remembered from the beginning or didn't just follow the direction at the end?
Right. Because that is, yeah. Wow. Smart.
So I've seen like the ones that do it, it's mostly a bonus. Like I'm not going to get super angry if they forget it. Right. But the ones that do, I'm like, hell yeah, attention to detail. Do this like video editor, your name. If they don't have the right subject, then I'm like, all right, discount it immediately.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Those are like if the simple things fail, then why will anyone you're hiring be able to do like complex video editing down the line?
Right. The last thing, this is just, I like to end on a good note. I've actually gotten compliments from VAs about this. I'd like to emphasize our goal to learn, grow, and succeed together. We want to work with you for years, not weeks.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I've always heard when I was talking to my VA too, Kay, about this, there is a like the same way where we are scared of scammers and people just spamming all the time. They're just trying to like get their credit card information. Like it's the same thing for the other side. They're also scared about just doing a couple test projects, not getting paid for it, and then they're gone because everything is virtual. You can just disappear easily.
Yeah.
All right.
I've been on both sides of that. I'm just in and out.
Let's
okay, so you do that. Well, where do you want to go next?
That's the most important part. All right. So get that right. I spent a lot of time on that. We spent a lot of time because it's so important. From there, the main idea, and you can take this a bunch of different directions, but the main idea is you want to test communication. Virtual companies, the most important trait is communication.
Why do you have a comma after Dylan? This says, hi, comma, I'm Dylan, comma, and it's not an interrupter pop. Hi. I don't know what you're doing there.
Well, I'm Dylan is technically a sentence. I don't know. It doesn't look great, but whatever. This is just an old, I think I just copied.
Can you retake the grammar test, please?
I got a 30, maybe that was a 3. All right. So the main idea, communication's critical. So all I'm doing is constantly back and forth emails of these 3 bullets, like just 3 questions that I want to know that are important. I'll send that off. And it's just hammering them with questions. And I like to see who gets back to me the fastest. How good are their emails? Are they elaborate? Jesus, well organized?
I sent you, you forwarded me one. One of your questions was like, what do you love about video editing? And the person's response right under was, I love to do this because I like this, or something. Hilarious.
Yeah, that person, really great profile or portfolio, I should say. And I'm like, these responses are lackluster.
That's so funny.
So sometimes though their English isn't great, so they're a little self-conscious and won't be elaborate. But I'm sorting for good English too. So yeah, I have my whole email system here. I just copy and paste. Like it's a doc. If you're listening this far in, like I'm sure 90% haven't gotten this far, but 10% that have, this is a fucking gold mine because I
I
know
need this.
I would
I
have
need
loved
this.
this.
Yeah. I
Okay,
need
I'll share
all
this.
these templates.
So it's a template. Yeah, I just have all the questions. I don't have the bullets because it reformats in Gmail. But yeah, I'm just like, do you have another job? Because I want to know if they're just for me. When can you work? What hours? What do you hope to do? Like, are they looking long term or just make a quick buck during quarantine? I have so many questions. It's
I
like,
know
what city do you live
if
in?
you are watching this, I just see like I see all these different scenarios you've made so that you can copy and paste effectively. Like, dude, you are crushing this system of operations. I mean, it's absurd.
People don't know how. This is the look at this one. This one's my full one.
Oh, this is a table of contents.
It's 16. It won't even load. This shit's
I
so long.
wish you could see how I hired my current video
Oh,
editor.
don't. God damn it. Do I have to edit this now? Because my password's. I'll just change the password. Whatever.
Yeah, change the password. I wish you could see the correspondence between me and my current video. Like I said, I got really lucky because holy crap, like you are going to hire the best people in the world with this kind of system.
I really. Yeah, there have been some failures, but quickly you realize what's wrong and you don't have to make my mistakes. Like it's very simple. It's just copy and paste every
Yeah,
single
what
time.
is your biggest sticking point bringing on new people?
The process is great. It's just very intensive. So you have to prepare yourself. Like, are you willing to put a week straight into hiring the best person?
That's what's so interesting is you read the 4-hour work week. You're like, this is it. I want to do nothing and like live this fruitful life. Why it doesn't work for so many people is because that initial investment is so high. The laziest person ever that reads the 4-hour work week that can't put in the work to get a VA is never going to be able to.
Yeah.
And like you say, you're lazy, but you can also laser focus for 48 hours and just like.
Yeah. I mean, most people aren't going to do this, but I've already committed to not leaving my house for 2 weeks. So just fucking, some people aren't that crazy. But yeah, I have at least 5 messages that I'll go back and forth with. And the reason why I'm so systematized here is because I don't want to do this the next time around. I'm going to have Kay or another person on the team help me out and just do this back and forth.
So smart. That is so smart. It's so meta.
I can't wait.
Want my VAs to hire VAs.
That's what we were talking about earlier, where at that point you have a company and you can do this for other people.
Yeah, exactly.
So
you're instilling a culture in your employees right now so that they can go out and hire down the line and then you can just sign off.
Yeah. Yeah. So the whole back and forth, a bunch of questions, like whatever, emailing prior. I don't know. Maybe I'll put this up. Email me if you want this. I'll send it to you directly. If enough people do, I'll put it somewhere.
Yeah, I want this and Sunday Smarts.
Easy Sunday Smarts. So all that back and forth. I know this is a lot. I hope you're bearing with me, but by the end of it, I'm like, okay, I have maybe 5 people that have gone through. I'm like, their emails are great. Their English is good. Their portfolio is awesome. I'm ready to move forward. I want to give them all a test task. And it's going to be something that's like a day's worth of work. And so I linked this to you, Belky. Did you ever end up watching it or no?
What is it? Your creatives?
The videos that a couple.
I saw them all.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. So, well, what did you?
Pleasantly surprised. If you want like specific criteria, there were like video and audio lag issues in the one really creative one that had like some black and white in it.
Oh, I think that was just because of the connection, because I've had that same issue.
Okay.
That wasn't that person, I don't think.
Yeah. My question for like Smart Nonsense as a whole is, why don't you put the 2 videos of us on top of each other so there's less dead space?
Because you can only do a 9:16. And like, you understand all this stuff. So you can only do like 9:16, I want to say, and then it goes up from there when you do IGTV. But the first 15 seconds are going to be a much smaller screen, and it just fits better when we're side by side.
Oh,
But when it goes
okay.
to IGTV, we could in theory stack it. Whatever, specific details.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll send them. What I do is I email them like, "Hey, I'm excited. Here are the instructions
Wow.
as well as the portfolio." So I'm
I
like,
mean,
"All right,
look, if you're not watching right now, Dylan's got like follow-ups. This one says, "Congrats on impressing the team so far. We're excited to see the editing talents." Like, so this is a scenario in which the task went well, and you've got that
well,
here ready to go.
no, this is like them making it
Oh,
to the
okay.
short list.
So
So
one
this
step
is
before that. Sorry.
I'm not that crazy, but
Okay.
then I just have the whole instructions exactly, basically a task that they would normally be doing on the job. I want them to do, and we're very like it's very consistent what we do. So I just sent them all the directions. I can, if people want this, I'll send it
And I
to you
want to
guys.
say too, like as an editor, the work that I saw that they gave back to you, while not perfect, and there are things that you should have them correct or expand on in the future, like I don't want to do that. The things they did are really labor intensive. They're inserting like different memes and pop culture things and B-roll. And the first one I watched was like had all these text and animations and graphics with different fonts and colors and backgrounds. Like that's intensive stuff. And to have somebody in Dubai doing that for, I don't know. I mean, look, it would take me 20 hours to do that. And if I'm $200 an hour, well, okay, it's not
Yeah,
even a
I'd much rather
consideration.
pay someone $20 to do a day's worth of all
It's
the video
crazy.
editing that we ever need.
It's crazy.
So yeah, a lot of specifics, but basically just in-depth instructions. Again, I
Wow,
spend a lot of
troubleshooting.
time on this because I just want, this is the most important thing. I'm trying to hire someone, the best person who's going to work with this team for the next 10, 15 years. And I just
Yeah.
listened to Gary Vee. Actually, he just put out a video. I had to close the tab because I didn't want people seeing it, but he was talking about why
What?
VaynerMedia is so successful. It's because he's hiring people to be partners. Like
Yeah.
everyone he hires, he wants them to be a partner.
He
I know
seems like a master delegator. And he's just such a cheerleader to put his trust behind his employees and his people, and that culture like precedes him.
and that's yeah. So that's like he doesn't have these big SOPs like we do as much. It's more so he only has to hire once, and that's really what I want to do. But I also like doing two birds with one stone.
This is brilliant. I want you to come to Chicago, and not only can we work on all these things, but I need you to get my ducks in a row.
Dude, this is copy and
We
paste, so
should
it's
just,
already done. It's one time, and
yeah, right,
now
right, sure. But you just know so much about. I bravo.
so here, I'll say real quick. After this, you'll have 5 people. Then you're like, all right, right now I have about 3 people I'm really excited about based on their tasks. Then I'll interview them, ideally get down to 2 people, and then I'll trial those 2 people for about 2 weeks, both working at the same time, full time, and just
Wow.
give them tasks. By the end of it, usually I'm just going to hire one of them. But it depends. Like maybe we grow fast enough. I have something with my prior employer where we get paid more. I can hire both of them. That's my ideal because I'm so excited about all of them right now. But
And you at least keep that short list around
right.
so that
Oh, so
when the
that's what
day
I want to
comes,
say. So
you've
Kay
put
right
in
now,
that work. Yeah.
Kay, who's our main writing assistant, she was someone that just given the circumstances, the role basically changed for our VA before. I was like, hey, you're awesome, but we can't take you on right now. Just the roles changed to more so video editor for my last company. And she's like, okay, cool, whatever. 2 months later, I still have the emails, the texts,
Brilliant.
everything. I'm like, hey, Kay, I just have this awesome role pop up. I know you're a great virtual assistant.
That's
Do you
super
want it?
cool.
She's like, oh,
That's
I'm
super
free. I
cool.
can do it. So that's the
Rock
whole
on.
process. I mean, sorry if that was way too
Woo!
much detail for all of you. Um, I don't know.
Wow.
Is this
Wow.
too much for people, Belky? Like,
No,
I don't know
because
how many people are going to do this, though. That's the
it doesn't
issue.
matter. It doesn't matter because if 1% do or 0.1%, right? That's like a few people. Oh, thanks. Good to see you again. We're back to split screen. That's what matters. And people ask me all the time. I've said this before. They read the 4 Hour Work Week. They're like, Henry, I want to do drop shipping. I want to do this Craigslist to eBay thing you're doing. And I'm like, awesome. I want you to too. Here's the 10 things I do. It's what I've done successfully for 4 years. It's how I do $500,000 in revenue a year and crickets, right? It's like the people that want this lifestyle, that want to put in the work, that want to have people handling the things, these smaller things, so they can do high yield things, they're going to do it. And that's what matters. You can't control that.
Yeah. I think people just the book changed me. Maybe the book doesn't change people, but the 4-Hour Workweek, I'm saying, it's just read that, see if you can get into this stuff, because it's easy. I would love, like, if someone's interested, I'm not gonna like charge anyone anything. I'll help you out with this process. I'll send you all this stuff. I love it. Clearly recorded, like, I don't know how long this podcast is.
I think you just love business operations and systems like, I think you're just a very like linear thinker, and that's super cool.
Dude, can I
if A then B, if A and B then D, and it's like,
I'm getting straight. I don't want to say that word, actually. All right, never mind. Scratch that whole point. But my mom thinks I have like spectrum autism. Like, honestly, it's not like joking. And I can see it sometimes in that, like, I'll be crazy anal about this, like staying up till 6 in the morning. I literally draw all my diagrams of the
is
workflows.
Interesting, right? Because I can be just as excited about this stuff as you, but still draw a line at 11 p.m. And so maybe there is something there. I don't know.
You got to stay up till 6 to communicate, right? You just got to sacrifice a week, maybe 2, and you're going to get the best team for the next 10 years, as long as you can pay them and like be awesome.
And people are going to see you, right, in the sand in Colombia in 2 years and think like, how, why, what, how did he do this overnight? No, Dylan was like making systems operations to hire VAs on August 3rd, 2020. And the fruits of that labor are going to take a while, but holy cow, you are like setting this stuff up in stone.
I'm excited. I really want someone listening to do this. I know I'm so not concerned about that though. One, because I have some reserves, and plus I can, like you hustle when you need to. I'll do the same thing. I'll just redirect energy to convincing my employer to pay me more, or my
exactly. So now that you've got people editing your videos, answering emails, hiring other VAs, whatever, you can focus on selling to one person. And you can't do all 6 of those things really well, but you can do 5 of them, have other people delegate the 5, and then you can do the 1 really well. And that's where you got to be.
I love it. August automation. Again, I'm just focused on this, and then September selling. That's the way we're going. And then from there, it's just growth. I don't know. There's no G month, but growth is from there. Belky, thanks for listening to all that. I'm excited. Again, when I get to Chicago and you need awesome video editors, I already have the short list. I'll just send you their WhatsApps and you can just hit them up.
What we need to do, maybe our next business, is figure out a way to quickly get 150 gigabytes of media between parties. Remote.
I don't know that. You just get someone with 300 megabytes of upload, download.
True. Okay.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Technically tomorrow for you all, but we're going to be breaking down. What's the book we're on? Excellent Sheep. Oh my God. We've been talking about this for a while. We're finally getting into it. Belky was busy. I was busy, but now we can read it again. Just get into all the nitty gritty of that. So that's tomorrow. Until then.
See ya.